The Acting Northern Territory Coroner has acknowledged the grief and shock felt by community members after the fatal of Kumanjayi Walker, in the first hearing ahead of a coronial inquest into his key points. A coronial inquest into the of Kumanjayi Walker will be held in Central Australia from September 5th. A coronial inquest into the of Kumanjayi Walker will be held in Central Australia from September 5th. Mr. Walker was shot by NT Police Constable Zachary Rolfe in Yuendumu in 2019. Mr. Walker was shot by NT Police Constable Zachary Rolfe in Yuendumu in 2019. Constable Rolfe was earlier this month acquitted of all charges relating to Mr. Walker's. Warning: Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander readers are advised that this article contains an image of a person who has used with the permission of their family. The inquest has been scheduled to begin in September in Alice Springs, the closest courthouse to Mr. Walker's home community of Yuendumu. Mr. Walker in 2019, after he was shot 3 times by NT Police Constable Zachary Rolfe during an attempt to arrest him. Constable Rolfe was found not guilty of and 2 lesser alternative charges earlier this month following a 5-week trial in the Northern Territory Supreme Court. Acting Coroner Elizabeth Armitage expressed her sincere condolences to Mr. Walker's family on Tuesday in a preliminary directions hearing at the Darwin Local Court. While much has been said about this, I recognize that your voices have not yet had an opportunity to be heard and understood, she said. This inquest cannot undo the past. We will, however, provide you with the opportunity to express your distress, your fears and concerns, and your hopes for the future. We will endeavor to not simply hear you but to understand you. Mr. Walker was fatally shot by Constable Rolfe in Yuendumu in 2019. The length of the inquest is unclear, however, it is expected to run for several weeks. Family members have previously requested at least part of the hearing take place in Yuendumu. 7 interested parties to appear at inquest. Counsel assisting the coroner, Peggy Dwyer, told the court a brief of evidence is expected to be provided to the parties by next week. This inquest aims to examine the circumstances of Kumanjayi's and to provide, where possible, meaningful recommendations that will prevent another, in similar circumstances, she said. I acknowledge that Kumanjayi's has profoundly impacted the family, and will continue to do so. It also impacted on the police officers present when he, the police officer put on trial, as a result of his and the NT police force generally. 7 interested parties have been given permission to appear during the inquest, allowing them to cross-examine witnesses and make submissions to the coroner. Queensland barrister Paula Moreau will represent Mr. Walker's adoptive mother Leanne Oldfield Brown and the Brown family. Separate representation, as between the 2 groups, is requested and said to be necessary to properly represent their joint and separate interests, said Ms. Dwyer. Constable Rolfe will be represented by the same legal team he had throughout the criminal trial, David Edwardson QC and Luke Officer. Andrew Bowe, who was involved in the 2004 Palm Island in custody case of Cameron Mulrunja Dumaji, will represent several other parties involved. NT Police, including the Police Commissioner Jamie Chalker, the North Australian Aboriginal Justice Agency, Parampuru Committee of Yuendumu Community, and the NT Department of Health will each also be represented through the inquest. In a fair and balanced way, we will seek to better understand what happened on the 9th of November 2019, and why it happened, with the goals of determining the truth and making recommendations which may assist in preventing future in similar circumstances, Ms. Armitage said. A further preliminary hearing will be held on May 20th, with the coronial inquest itself scheduled to begin in Central Australia on September 5th.